Oh, hey guys, Pastor Dan here. I was just thinking about my camping trip, and we got the fishing tackle all set up, and we got the tent figured out, and we got to figure out how we're going to sleep. And as I was practicing setting up my tent, I was thinking about what I was going to sleep on, and I was thinking about my bed and how soft and cushy and warm it is. And you know, you go camping, you get a sleeping bag, that's all that's there. And oh, I could just sleep on my bed. Oh, wouldn't that be the best? If you could have your bed where you're camping, wouldn't that be amazing? Oh, that would feel so good. I got to figure out what my sleeping options are. Why don't you come with me into my garage? We're going to go check out what the sleeping options are for this camping trip. Hey guys, welcome to my messy old garage again. I'm going to show you what my sleeping options are. So if you want to really rough it, what you do is you rake up a bunch of pine needles and just put your sleeping bag out on the pine needles and sleep on that. Don't recommend it. I tried that once and slept really good for about 2 hours. And then my wife and I woke up and it was like, oh, we're dying out here. And we had 3 more nights like that. It was horrible. So next thing is you go up to a pad like this. And it's not really for softness. It's actually to keep you warmer because the ground can be kind of cold. And so this gives you insulation or protection from the cold ground. So you got that. But if you want a little bit softer, a little bit more cushy, you go up to one of these. Now this one right here, it's got a little nozzle here, and I undo that. And when I undo it, air starts going in, and I untie it and I roll it out, and I let it sit there for about an hour, and then I tighten this thing back up. And then it's soft and cushy. I get about 1 inch of pad and I stay warm and I'm a little comfortable there. Now, you can use those for backpacking or hiking, but if you got a truck or a car or something like that, you could take bigger stuff. Well, this is my wife's favorite right here. She makes me bring this along. And look at that, 3 or 4 inches of foam padding. That'll make you really comfortable. And then sometimes when we go on vacation, I bought these cots for my wife. And look at it, it's got a pad. It's got springs, and we set this out, and it's kind of, I gotta get that one, get it all flat, and then lay it down, and there's just not much room, but it's kind of a lot of work, but once you get it up, you can fall asleep right away on this thing, but you gotta have, a lot of room to pack that along, because when you go and camp, and especially if you go way up in the mountains to really pretty places, you can't put that on your back and hike along with that. You got to take something smaller like this pad or the other one. So when you're camping, you got to make choices. You got to sacrifice some things. You got to leave some things behind. Like if we were going camping way up in the mountains, I got this box here. Look at this. Madden 2003 with the Rams. Yeah, got the Rams on there. And I think I got my Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods. Yeah, right there. Can I bring my old Xbox on a camping trip? I don't think so. You can't bring that kind of stuff when you go camping. You don't get to have video games with you. Sometimes you don't even get a shower. You go to some places and maybe you just jump in the lake. When we go to our favorite camping spot, we get in a boat and we go out in the lake and we take a shower out in the lake because there's no showers in the campground. So, sacrifices. I got a story for you today about sacrifices that we need to make when we choose to follow Jesus. Take a listen. Hey guys, so here we are, got the Bible story for you, and I put some pictures on the TV of some of my favorite places that I've ever gone camping or hiked to. Some of them are kind of easy to get to, some of them are really hard to get to, but these are my favorite places and they are so worth it. In fact, there's my family. We're at the Grand Canyon on the North Rim. That was a favorite trip. We didn't camp there, but we went hiking around there. And I know people who have hiked all the way across and back. Amazing. Maybe I'll do that someday, or maybe not. I don't know, but it would probably be worth it. So here's the story from Matthew chapter 8, verses 18 to 22. I'm in the New International Reader's Version. I'm looking at my notes here to help me out with this, so that's why I'm looking down a little bit. It says in verse 18, Jesus saw a crowd around him. Now, he was getting really popular because he was doing lots of miracles and stuff. I don't know why this crowd was there. They were probably there for a lot of different reasons. Maybe some really wanted to know and follow him. Maybe some wanted to see a miracle show. Maybe some wanted free food. They'd heard of those kind of miracles. Who knows why? And Jesus wants to find out why they're really there. And so he gives them an opportunity to show if they really want to follow him or they're just looking for a miracle, a little Shazam kind of thing to go on. So he gave orders to the crowd. It doesn't say to the crowd, but that's who he's talking to the crowd, to go to the east side of the Sea of Galilee. Now, that just sounds like a hike, right? Not that big of a deal. Well, the east side of Galilee, Jewish people didn't live there. Good religious people didn't live there. That was where the Gentiles, the nations, lived. And Jewish people were like, oh, we don't go there. Our parents told us we don't go to that side of the lake. But Jesus was going to go because God loves everyone and he wants everyone to come to know him. And so Jesus was going to go to the east side and do some teaching and do some miracles. And he wanted to see if the people would follow him there. And so in verse 19, a teacher of the law comes up to Jesus and says, "Teacher, I'll go with you no matter where you go." And that was amazing. This guy knew everything about the Bible, from Genesis to Malachi, all the Bible that was written at that point. This guy knew it all. And he said, "Jesus, I'm in with you. Wherever you say to go, I will go." He's a true follower of Jesus. Verse 20, Jesus replies to him, though. He says, "Hey, foxes have dens and birds have nests, but the Son of Man," talking about himself, that's his favorite title, Son of Man, the Son of Man, "I got no place to lay my head." In fact, right after he finishes teaching this, Jesus is going to get in a boat to go to the other side of the lake, and he's going to fall asleep in the boat because he's so tired. And in these old wooden boats, they didn't have a bed. He didn't have sleeping pads. He didn't have a sleeping bag and a pillow to snuggle up with. Then maybe just some ropes and nets and hard wood. And that's where he falls asleep. Jesus says, you know what? Sometimes the places where I go, it's not easy. It's hard to travel around and tell everybody about God. So he tries to let this guy know it is hard to follow Jesus. Verse 21. Well, another follower, somebody else who was part of the crowd, who'd been kind of tagging along with Jesus, he comes up and he says, "Lord, first let me go and bury my father." Well, that sounds reasonable, right? Because a child has an obligation to their parents. And they meant one of two things here. Either he was saying, after my dad dies, I got to take care of my dad. After he dies in, I don't know, a year or two or three or four, then I'll come follow you. Or what they would do is when somebody would die, they would put him in a tomb, like Jesus was laid in a tomb. And they would wait about a year or so for everything to decay. And then they would go back in the tomb and they would get their bones and they'd put them into a box. And then they would go and bury them a second time with that box of bones. And that's probably what this man is talking about. Drop my notes here for just a minute, sorry. And he says, "Lord, I got to go back and I got to wait for that and take care of that. But as soon as I take care of that, I'll come follow you." Well, what does Jesus say to him? Jesus says, "Follow me and let the dead bury their own dead." Now, Jesus, he's kind of doing a little sarcastic humor there. But he says, hey, I'm God, and I want you to follow me and follow me now. Because only God would have the right to say that, because the man had the right attitude of wanting to honor his dad, although maybe he was making some excuses too. But Jesus, being God, has the right to say, I'm God, follow me now. So, Jesus is teaching us that it is not easy to follow him. He takes a road that's called the narrow path, and the path that Jesus leads, it's narrow because most people don't go there. It's not popular. It's not the easy way. It's kind of like camping, you know, whether you're sleeping in a tent, on a small, thin little pad like we talked about, and all you got is a sleeping bag. It's not easy. It's not like being at home in your favorite bed with your maybe your teddy bears or your favorite blanket or your video game set or whatever you got that makes your bedroom great. You don't got that. Jesus says you don't got that when you're camping, and when you come follow me, you leave stuff behind because I have to be the most important. I've seen some beautiful places. This is Zion National Park right here in this picture. I've seen beautiful lakes and mountains and rivers, and I've slept under the stars, and I've seen a zillion stars in the Milky Way galaxy. Oh, it's so beautiful in the middle of night. This is Hume Lake. This is a sunrise. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and we got up really early in order to see that. This little duck going across the pond there. Oh, it was great, but it takes some sacrifice. It takes some commitment in order to go to places like that and see things like this. Jesus wants us to discover the kingdom of God, and sometimes it's hard to follow him, and a lot of people don't because it gets hard. They just kind of do whatever they feel like doing, not following Jesus. But Jesus wants us to see beautiful things like people coming into a relationship with God. You know, Jesus, heaven is this is Yosemite and this is Trinity Lake. Heaven is way more beautiful than any of these pictures. And Jesus left that. This is my favorite place to camp right here. The lake is right there. Oh, it's my favorite. Jesus left his favorite place, heaven, to come to earth to camp with us. John 1:14 says that. He made his dwelling, he made his tent, he made his camp with us. And Jesus came to do that so that we could have a relationship with God. And Jesus says, if you want to follow me, you need to leave some of your favorite places, your favorite things. You need to leave what's comfortable for you in order to follow me and do what I say. Now, you may not have to give up your house. You may not have to give up your family. But God may call you at some point to make him the most important thing in your life. And the question for today is, are you willing to do that? I got a memory verse for you. We'll put it up on the screen so you can see it too. It's from Ephesians chapter 5, verse 1. It says, you are the children that God dearly loves, so follow his example. I'm still learning it too, so maybe you can learn it here with me. You are the children that God dearly loves, so follow his example. Let's try it again. You are the children that God dearly loves, so follow his example. Let's do it one more time. You are the children that God dearly loves, so follow his example. Ephesians 5:1. I think I got it. I'll do it one more time. You are the children that God dearly loves, so follow his example. Ephesians 5:1. Got it. Hope you'll keep working on it with your family, and let's imitate God. He left heaven to come to earth so that we could know him. We need to be willing to leave anything behind in order to follow him so our friends can come to know him too. We'll catch you next time.